welcome to Property Pros, where we make sense of the property world. I am Jacque Elias, the CEO and Director of Futurebound, and I am here with the other Director of Futurebound, Jeff Elias.
Yeah, that's me.
And yes, he is my husband. We are here to talk about mortgage brokers because that is who we are and what we do.
It is.
Yeah, so let's talk about what do mortgage brokers do? How do they fit into the property puzzle?
So mortgage brokers or mortgage advisors, we're basically the money people, we're the finance people. Now, if you've been lucky enough to win lotto and you've got a whole lot of money, that means you don't need a mortgage broker or a mortgage advisor. You can just go pay cash for your house. But there's not many people that fit into that scenario, right into that category. So most people need to borrow some money to buy a house, and this is where mortgage brokers or mortgage advisors come in. We help people through that process to get them ready to get the funds so that they can make an offer and secure a house.
Right, that simple, huh?
Pretty much. And the point that I'm often making, and this is a really big point, is that the debt that people take on when they buy a house is often $400, $500, $600, $700, $800,000. Like, we're talking large amounts of money here, right? Massive amounts of money, probably the biggest debt that anyone's ever gonna have. And wouldn't you want to have some advice around that, right? Because advice around debt of that size can just make a massive difference, and this is part of what we do, is give people advice so that they can pay their mortgages off faster, pay less interest, know how to structure their mortgage, and it's all the kind of things that you're not going to get directly from your bank. And considering that this is such a massive decision, I would suggest that everybody should be using a mortgage broker or a mortgage advisor to get proper advice so that they don't make mistakes.
Yeah, it kind of seems like a no-brainer when you think about the value of that advice, right? A lot of times, because I know we are providing more than just take this interest rate, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's different parts of the process. Because I mean, you'd use a mortgage broker to get you approved for the finance, and so that's kind of like the first part. But really, the advice is about showing you how to get rid of the finance, right? How to get rid of the debt.
Right.
So part of it is getting the debt, which you need to buy the house, but then you also want to get rid of it because, don't you want to be paying your mortgage for as little time as possible? Why would you want to take 30 years if you could take 10 years, for example? So this is where advice plays a really important factor, and good advice can just make a massive difference. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right, hundreds of thousands. And that goes into the structure, right? So how you structure your mortgage.
That's right.
Is there stuff, are you be giving advice like interest only versus principal and interest? So like what type of products or what type of advice is there?
Yep, so like what we do is quite specific because we have our own product which is called Fast Track Mortgage Plan, and so Fast Track Mortgage Plan is very specific, and this is an add-on service that we do, and this is for people that really want to make fast headway with their mortgage, people that want to create equity, people that want to pay their mortgage off quickly and not sort of be enslaved to their bank for 30 years. And Fast Track Mortgage Plan takes all the guesswork out of it. Like, it shows you exactly what your structures should be, shows you how you should pay your mortgage. It combines a little bit of budgeting advice and shows people exactly what they need to do to pay off their mortgage as fast as possible. And you know what? I actually trained a young couple this morning. I don't know if you know this. I trained a young couple this morning and I gave them their advice around how to structure and pay their mortgage, and these people really didn't know any of the terms. They didn't really know much about mortgages at all, but I asked them to give me their lifestyle that they wanted to live. They gave me the lifestyle that they wanted to live, and I showed them how they could keep living that lifestyle, and for them they could pay off their mortgage in about 9 years. Right, so life-changing.
That's from 30 years to 9 years.
That's right, 30 years to 9 years while living the same lifestyle that they're living now. That's life-changing, right?
Yeah, it's really life-changing, and that's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars,
right? And on average, we're saving with this advice $179,000 in interest. So it's not just like you have to have exorbitant amount of money to actually save.
No, that's right. And this couple are not high flyers. They've got really standard Kiwi incomes, and they've just got the ability to still get this result through working smarter rather than working harder. And just having that knowledge is just, is life-changing really. And I'd probably say that if you're going to take on large amounts of debt, and if you're going to go and go directly to a bank for that kind of advice, they're not going to give it to you. Like, I'd honestly say that's a really big mistake to make, to go directly to your bank, because they might be great at giving you the mortgage, but they're not going to be great at all at telling you how to get rid of the mortgage, because that's not what they do. So that's what you need to look for in your mortgage broker or mortgage advisor, is somebody that can not only get the mortgage for you, but show you how to get rid of the mortgage, because you don't want it forever.
Right, and how do you find people who actually, a mortgage broker who has that advice? So we know the bank is not going to give any advice, right? Because they don't want you to save any money on interest, and they want you to pay the loan back as long as possible, because that's how they make money. But as far as mortgage advisors, because we found that not very many are giving out this type of advice, right?
So, no, it's not that common, and that's where everyone just has to do their independent homework and check. But really, you should be able to do a projection or get some advice before you take on your mortgage. Like, you can check, what kind of advice can you give me around paying off my mortgage faster? And it should be, pretty specific advice. If it's just kind of general advice, then it's probably not that great advice. Like, you need to be knowing that you can get specific advice, exact structures and exact strategies that are going to give you that result. Otherwise, it's probably going to be something along the lines of, just increase your repayments, because that's a really common one. Increase your repayments and you'll pay your mortgage off faster. And yeah, that does work, but trust me, it's not the smartest way of doing things. It's pretty basic. There's lots of restrictions around that. And if anyone said to me that my plan to pay off my mortgage faster is just to increase my repayments, I'd say that's a pretty dumb plan.
That kind of holds your budget in hostage, doesn't it?
It does.
So you have no flexibility. So there's other ways to do that, where you can actually still, go from 30 to 9 like the couple this morning, and still have the flexibility of being able to make the decisions you want.
And because that couple this morning are really keen to become property investors at some stage, we've given them a pathway to do that, because you need equity to be a property investor, and this plan is going to give them the equity like years and years ahead of years in advance of where they would have got that equity otherwise.
Right. And so for a mortgage broker, how much does that normally cost people, right? Like, you would think, okay, if I'm going to get good advice and you're going to get me the best rates and stuff, then I have to pay all this money out of pocket.
Yeah. So mortgage brokers actually work for free. So in terms of like getting the loan approved, and to get your finance all approved so that you can make an offer and secure an offer, like, all mortgage advisors will do that for free, because when you draw down the loan, banks pay us for that, so we get paid directly from the banks. In terms of advice around how to get rid of your loan, for that part you need to do your homework for that. But we do charge a fee, but it is a discounted fee for people that get their mortgage through us. And it's a higher fee for people that don't get their mortgage through us. So we would recommend, of course, you get your mortgage through us, because then you get the advice at a heavily discounted rate, and the fee is pretty much free when you take into account how much you save, right? Because for most people, I can show them that if they just follow our plan for about 12 weeks, they get the feedback. And then they're ahead from there. So it's very, very easy to make money or save money when you know how to structure and how to pay your mortgage.
Right, that's awesome. And so what common mistakes are you finding? So from a lending perspective, what mistakes are you seeing that people are making that you would love to share with people? Say, don't do that.
People are just generally unprepared. They're generally just seeing a house that they like and thinking, I want to buy it, okay? But they haven't had a run up, they haven't done their homework, they haven't checked, will a bank actually give them finance? So they're just unprepared. And so that's why, there's people that I can think of one couple that I'm working with at the moment. They're probably not ready to buy a house for next year. I'm getting them ready at the moment to buy a house, right? They've got some ingredients right, and they've got some ingredients that aren't right. But because they've been working with me early, and I've talked to them twice now, I know that probably by maybe even the end of this year or next year, they will be into their first house, and they've done their homework and they've got themselves ready. So preparation preparation is really important. You know, don't just assume that you can buy a house. Like, go and find out, do some homework, check, because there's lots of things about the process that people don't know about, and you're not going to find out until you ask. And so preparation, I would probably say, is just a really, really key factor.
And what would that preparation be? Getting pre-approved, or is there something else to do before getting pre-approved?
Yep. So just like what I like people to do is just come and talk to us for 15 minutes first, and like we just do a 15-minute free consultation when we can look at their situation and we can say, yep, you're ready to go right now, or no, you need to do this, or these are the things that you need to do to prepare, because people don't understand bank criteria, right? They think to themselves, I know what the interest rates are, I know what the repayments are, I can afford that, the bank will give it to me. That's not how it works, okay? There's lots of things about bank criteria that the average punter doesn't understand, and so that's why you need to see a professional to check, have you got things lined up properly, so that when you do make an application, you're going to get approved.
Because the bank changes their criteria, right? And mortgage brokers are the ones who get notified
yeah, that's
when
right.
those change.
Yeah, and I've received a number of emails just in the last weeks, I should say, from a number of banks saying this is our new criteria, this is our new benchmark, and it changes quite regularly. So you know, like for us, we need to do our homework to keep up on what those changes are. For the public, you know, they really wouldn't know.
Yeah, there would be no way. So that's awesome. It's like you have the back of the person who needs the lending.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of the thing that impresses me about being a mortgage advisor or mortgage broker is it's really in this place of I'm gonna kind of help the little guy, right? You know, you come to this big bank and
we are totally grabbing them and giving them a cuddle and saying, man, we're gonna get you into that house, and we hold their hand and we get them there and we really look after them, and really we're one of the few people that are 100% in the corner of the buyer, and we're on their side, and we want to see them get into a house, and that's what all our advice is about, is helping them to get them there, and I think a lot of people come away from that process, you know, feeling really cared for, feeling really looked after, which is awesome. We feel really happy about that.
Absolutely. And so as far as tips goes, I know there's lots of first home buyers out there who are saying, okay, we're gonna just bite the bullet, we're gonna get out there, just start trying to find a house in this crazy property market. But what would you say to them to help them kind of have a little bit of a leg up on what's going on?
Can I do a shameless plug?
Oh no. Sure.
Watch our Get Mortgage Ready hub. All right, we made a bunch of videos and we put them in something called our Get Mortgage Ready hub, and it's really just designed for people to see if you're ready. And this is just part of that preparation process that I talked about previously, and not being prepared is one of the biggest problems. And if people just took out 25 minutes to watch all the videos in our because what are we, 8 videos there that are only about, I don't know, they're only like 3 minutes each or something, aren't they?
Yeah, they're not that long.
They're not very long. So you can watch all 8 of them in 25 minutes. But you learn so much and you get an understanding of what you need to do. That would be one of the biggest tips that I could give people. And the other tip is, don't take advice from your family.
They love you.
They love you, but they don't know.
They're not experts. They're not mortgage experts like how we are.
That's right. Yeah, I know. Look, friends and family are well-meaning. But geez, they get it wrong a lot. So I would say just be really careful of that.
Yeah. Well, and the last time we knew the stats, it's something like 60% of people go straight to the bank, which means most people do not get advice or know how to get the best deal, pay their mortgage off faster.
That's right.
What the bank really is looking for. They just kind of go and they apply, and if they get it, great. If they don't, then try again later.
That's 60% of New Zealand that I would say is getting bad advice. You know, and if you're on the other side watching this and you're thinking that maybe you would go directly to your bank because you think that's the best option, I can tell you it's not the best option. The people there are well-meaning, and they will certainly help you get pre-approved, but they're not going to help you get rid of that debt, and that makes that mortgage way more expensive than what it needs to be. Because if you can pay your mortgage off in 10 years rather than 30 years, how much money you're saving? We're talking lots and lots of money.
Yeah. And since we've been giving people this advice, they are building equity quickly, and they're jumping right into being property investors, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And so what kind of tips do you give property investors or homeowners looking to get into property investment?
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of like what you said just hits the nail on the head. Like we're creating wealthy people. That's really what we're doing. We're using strategies and coaching and helping people along pathways, and it's creating wealthy people, right? And if you'd like to retire wealthy, if you'd like to retire in a comfortable financial position, then you need to know how to handle debt. Okay, it's really, really important that you need to learn how to handle debt. And then once you know how to handle debt, that means you can create equity. And once you know how to create equity, that means you can buy investment properties. And once you know how to buy investment properties, you can retire pretty wealthy. All right, it's a nice little chain there. And that all comes from advice and knowing how to do it properly. And it's just all a big game. But if you don't know the rules to the game, you'll likely make mistakes.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking out your time from our busy schedule to make this video. We are going to talk to more property professionals, so make sure that you stay tuned, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
For more financial tips, advice, and education, like, follow, and subscribe.